So I want to clarify on my post, the only interest I have in the state of Vermont is the raccoons that I've already got a connection with. I'm worried about Sass. I'm worried about Dollywalls. Little Buddha. Bambi, who got used as a tool for the bioweapon. Her baby, Smokey, who was also tagged because he got injected with the bioweapon. I get molested every day by the state. Every day. I told you you're never going to find all the moles because you end up locking up half the state. You wouldn't have a government left. You wouldn't have any constituents left to go vote. I outed all of their idiotic private dicks, and they recruited 5 new ones within, a matter of days? And they'll recruit 5 more, 5 more, 5 more, 5 more. It's never going to stop. Because Vermonters it's a small state, and they're completely dependent on the Epstein class and the Wall Street and their Wall Street cartel. And they are, of course, Bernie Sanders said that Vermont's been obstructing him since he was mayor. If Vermont was progressive, I wouldn't need victim services. There wouldn't have been a bioweapon release that's affecting probably people and wildlife and animals nationally. I don't know about globally, but I'm just saying, I'm not going to help you with your investigation. I kind of don't have any choice in that. But once the shit hits the fan and I'm compensated and I'm able to make a decision about where I'm going to live and how I'm going to live, if I don't have access to those raccoons and that park because of a bullshit retaliatory no trespass that only the mayor has say over. It ain't got shit to do with Pam Blondie, Kash Patel, Kristi Noem, Virginia Piper, the midterms, Trump. Ain't got shit to do with that. That is her jurisdiction and hers only. And if she continues to enforce that no trespass and those animals perish once I am compensated, I'm the fuck out of the state. I'm not going to put up with the state whose inhabitants are molesters who get off on helping the Epstein class because a very small percentage of Vermonters chose to help fight the Epstein class, which they should be doing that anyway, which you guys were kind of sort of doing that long before I got here. So, but if you enable them in torturing basically what is tantamount to my pets to death, because I have a bond with them, they have a bond with me, we're emotionally invested, even though they're still wild and do their own thing. And then I have to live with that, especially after they murdered Michaela, and now they're killing all of her animals too. They killed Michaela to show me. They did it because they knew I was going to help her and she was going to help me. They did it to harm me. And so basically anybody who's letting them get away with that shit while pretending to fight the Epstein class, the legacy of Vermont is not going to be well. I don't owe anybody anything. Vermont can either do what's best for Vermont or not. I mean, ultimately, most of the crimes that Epstein's class are committing are against the state of Vermont. They're stealing from Medicaid. They're stealing from the Vermont taxpayers. They're trafficking their children. They're trafficking their adult humans. If Vermont's perfectly cool with that, then that's on them. I'm not going to stay here and pretend that it's a wonderful place when it isn't. I stand out with a sign that says Epstein whistleblower with cancer, anything helps, and I get cussed out, told off, heckled, molested the whole fucking time I'm out there. Barely made enough money to buy a fucking $2 package of coffee, instant coffee, some bagels and cream cheese. It's not that I'm not grateful. I'm just saying it wasn't like that in any other state. Nobody else. It wasn't. I've never had to deal. No other state came up with idiotic PIs and snitches and cronies, one right after the other. There damn sure wasn't an army of them in Arizona. There wasn't an army of snitches and cronies and PIs in Florida or Missouri or New York. New York had a few, but that was it. A handful. Only in Vermont are there more than I can fucking count. And as soon as I out them, they recruit 5 new ones. Minorities, people of color, people with disabilities. Only in Vermont is your entire, basically almost your entire constituency, regardless of who they vote for, willing to help the Epstein class molest us victims and the animals and unleash bioweapons on their own fucking community. That's not to say it only affected the community here. It's affecting animals and God knows, and probably humans nationwide, if not globally. It's not like we're going to know because Catholic Health and Centene Corporation and United Health run the global, control all the medical evidence and doctors and diagnoses globally. So it's not like we're going to fucking know. And that includes state veterinarians and private veterinarians for people's pets. That's going to be, I'm afraid that's going to be the legacy no matter what. She can lift that no trespass tomorrow. That's still going to be Vermont's legacy. But if anything happens to those animals, I'm not staying here. I'll go to probably upstate New York or Maine. I won't stay here. And it'll be my life's mission to make sure that the University of Vermont is boycotted and all the tourism in Vermont is boycotted. It deserves the legacy of Mizzou. It deserves the same horrific financial catastrophe as what I did to Mizzou with the Mizzou football player strike. Because you have the biggest majority of Vermonters are all too happy to help kill other Vermonters. Released a fucking bioweapon in a fucking park preschool. With the help of the park ranger and the Vermont Fish and Wildlife. That was all Vermont fucking state officials working with Paul Dragon. That was all Vermonters. It don't matter how many of their PIs they bring in from out of state. The ones who were behind that bioweapon are Vermonters, Vermont state officials. That's Peter Welch. That's Patrick Leahy. And God knows how many city council and corrupt state police and corrupt regular police and corrupt doctors, nurses. Ooh, yeah, there's nothing even remotely enticing about this state. The only reason why I would stay here would be those animals. And if anything happens to them, I'm out. I'll just let this be known as ground zero for a fucking bioweapon. As far as the lady that I'm staying with, that's very temporary. She wanted me to be her roommate and pay rent, and I'm not going to pay rent to a place where I don't have a key, I don't have a lease, I've got no protection. I don't even have a bed or a. I'm basically just sleeping